Today's news highlights. Date May 6, 2025. News highlights. Recently, the new Taiwan dollar has appreciated sharply against the US dollar for 2 consecutive days, and Yang Jinlong, the governor of the central bank, pointed out that the main reason is the inflow of foreign capital and the sale of foreign exchange by manufacturers, and frankly admitted that the exchange rate is excessively volatile due to excessive market expectations. The central bank has moderately entered the market to adjust, and warned suspected foreign exchange speculation funds to enter Taiwan, emphasizing that they should not be parked for too long. Regarding market rumors such as the Highlights agreement, both Yang Jinlong and President Lai clarified that there was no exchange rate involved, and called for speculation to maintain the stability of the foreign exchange market and the confidence of the real economy. News highlights. Paparo, the U.S. Indo-Pacific commander, said that if the current conflict breaks out in the Taiwan Strait, the United States has the strength to defeat the CCP, especially in underwater and space operations, but he also warned that the rapid expansion of the CCP's military power poses a challenge to the United States. Recently, the CCP has conducted frequent military exercises around Taiwan, showing that it is simulating a full range of military operations to seize Taiwan. Paparo admitted that he could become a commander in the war with the CCP during his tenure. The Pentagon has listed curbing the Chinese Communists' invasion of Taiwan as a top national defense task, reflecting the high vigilance of the United States in the regional security situation. News highlights. The inclusion of Aquabrid surgical sealing gel in the health insurance benefit was expected by the medical community, but because the price of the health insurance was much lower than the original out-of-pocket price, the original factory completely stopped supply, and the medical community strongly rebounded, criticizing this move as a life-saving medical material, highlighting the institutional contradiction between price negotiation, free market, and clinical needs of Taiwan's health insurance system. Surgeons point out that the gel is essential for high-risk surgeries, and losing it will seriously affect patient safety. A number of experts called for the introduction of a self-pay first, health insurance post-review and differential payment system to avoid the continued marginalization of innovative medical materials and life-saving drugs in the future, and damage the clinical ecology and medical quality. News highlights. Although Taiwan stocks fluctuated, construction stocks rose against the trend due to the injection of domestic demand funds, becoming a short-term safe haven. However, the impact of the exchange rate on the housing market is deferred, and the relationship between the exchange rate and the transaction volume is delicate. Experts pointed out that although the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar does not directly affect the housing market, it can affect market confidence and willingness to buy houses, and the public should carefully observe policy and exchange rate changes to evaluate the timing of asset allocation. News highlights. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he would impose 100% tariffs on all films produced abroad and imported into the United States, claiming that other countries are stealing the U.S. film industry and posing a threat to national security. He also appointed 3 movie stars as special ambassadors for the revitalization of Hollywood. The move was seen as a countermeasure to the pressure of the CCP and other countries on the film and television industry. Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom have expressed their stance to safeguard their film and television interests. The news triggered a decline in the stock prices of a number of American film and television giants, reflecting the industry's worries about this policy. News highlights. Recently, a number of indicators have shown that the housing market has cooled, including a slowdown in the growth rate of housing loans, a record high in the amount of overdue loans, and a decline in the number of real estate and land taxes and the number of foreclosure transfers, reflecting sluggish buying and rising economic pressure. However, in some areas, such as Dawon Daewon and New Taipei Three Gorges, the price gap between pre-sale and existing houses has narrowed, which may be an opportunity for self-occupiers to pick up cheap. Experts remind that it is still necessary to carefully assess the financial and risk of buying a house to avoid taking over at a high price and excessive pressure in the future. News highlights. Aquabrid, a surgical sealing gel hailed by surgeons as a life-saving weapon, has been included in the health insurance benefits since May, but because the health insurance points are much lower than the original out-of-pocket price, the original factory announced a complete suspension of supply, causing consternation in the medical community. Doctors criticized the government for prescribing a dead pig price to force the original factory to retreat, and the lack of clinical substitution and transition mechanisms, which may endanger the safety of patients. Experts called for the promotion of the self-payment first, health insurance review and differential payment system to avoid excessive intervention in the market by health insurance, resulting in the inability to use innovative medical materials, and harming the quality of medical care and the rights and interests of patients. News highlights. Recently, the new Taiwan dollar has risen sharply, and the governor of the central bank, Yang Jinlong, stressed that the excessive appreciation expectation has led to irrational behavior in the market, and the central bank will increase its intervention, emphasizing that the abnormal situation will end here. He clarified that the main sellers were exporters, not the life insurance industry, and pointed out that foreign investors were still net sellers of foreign exchange. The central bank stressed that it would maintain cooperation with the United States and not be accused of indulging the exchange rate, and called on companies not to be misled by rumors in order to maintain financial stability and economic order. News highlights: despite the weaker performance of U.S. stocks this year, Morgan Stanley strategists remain bullish on the outlook for large U.S. companies, believing that they will outperform smaller companies in the midst of a slowdown. Strategists point out that large companies have stable earnings growth and are doing better in the current economic cycle. Although the S&P 500 is down 3% year-to-date, U.S. companies have a strong rebound in global markets. Morgan Stanley advises investors to favor larger companies, and among defensive stocks, healthcare stocks should outperform staple stocks. The S&P 500 is forecast to encounter challenges in the 5,750 to 5,800 area. News highlights: the new Taiwan dollar has appreciated sharply in recent days, which has had an impact on U.S. dollar assets, especially U.S. bond ETFs. Many long-term U.S. bond ETFs fell by more than 7% in a single day, of which the prices of 67 bond ETFs hit a new low, with an average decline of 6.02% and a turnover of more than 40 billion yuan, the fifth highest in history. The analysis points out that stagnant inflation and uncertainty about U.S. trade policy have dragged down the confidence of U.S. dollar assets, and the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar has affected the performance of U.S. dollar-denominated bond ETFs. The legal person expects that although the bond market is facing shocks, medium and long-term investment is still optimistic, and recommends that holders wait and see for the time being. News highlights: last week, Spain and Portugal experienced a massive power outage, the cause of which has not yet been determined, but shows the fragility of the Iberian Peninsula power grid. At the time of the outage, there was a power shortage of 15 GW, affecting about 55 million people and lasting nearly 23 hours. Experts point out that the accident may have been caused by an imbalance in the frequency of the grid and the poor interconnection of the region with other power grids in Western Europe. Renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind, which account for 40% of Spain's electricity supply, have not been able to adjust immediately to respond to fluctuations in demand, which may have exacerbated the impact of the failure. This incident highlights the urgent need for grid stability and resilience. News highlights: the new Taiwan dollar has risen violently in recent days, rising by more than 3% in a single day for 2 consecutive trading days, triggering panic in the market for currency wars. Financial scholars pointed out that financial market volatility will intensify in the short term, and warned that if the United States fails to solve the U.S. debt crisis, it may trigger the de-dollarization of global financial assets, further weakening the dollar. Yin Naping, a professor at NCCU, believes that the appreciation pressure of the new Taiwan dollar is greater, and predicts that more problems will emerge in the future. Yang Jinlong, governor of the central bank, stressed that Taiwan did not participate in the Taiwan-US economic and trade talks, and said that exchange rate fluctuations were caused by market expectations. Experts called for central banks to intervene to stabilize the currency market and reduce the impact on companies. News highlights: with the hot weather, the large electricity consumers above high voltage in Taiwan will implement the summer electricity price from May 16, and the low voltage users will implement it from June 1 to September 30. In the face of international changes and tariff pressures, the government team listened to the industry, and some industry players proposed to postpone or cancel the summer electricity price. Minister of Economic Affairs Guo Zhihui said that the electricity tariff will be decided by the Tariff Council, and he hopes to get the support of the opposition parties for a subsidy plan of NT $200 billion. Taipower also pointed out that large industrial electricity consumers can choose different tariff schemes to meet demand. News highlights: Alaska Governor Dunleavy recently secured a letter of intent from CNPC for an investment in a natural gas pipeline project after completing a 9-day trip to Asia. This plan is not only about Alaska's economic future, but also an important part of the Trump administration's strategy, especially under Trump's trade policy, where energy cooperation has become a powerful tool for U.S. diplomacy and trade. News highlights: Ruby Lin and Huo Jianhua have been married for 9 years and have an 8-year-old daughter, and recently attended a top jewelry event wearing pearl and diamond jewelry worth 32.6 million yuan, showing elegant temperament. After the event, she changed into casual clothes, revealing her sexy waist, showing her energetic side. Ruby Lin has transformed into a producer in recent years, and the album Love Us Talk in Bed has attracted much attention, and she often cares about the filming progress in person. She maintains a gym 5 days a week, eats a simple diet, eats 2 meals a day, maintains a slim figure, and shows an excellent balance between career and family. News highlights: the 61st Baeksang Art Awards was held at COEXD Hall, hosted by Suzy for the 10th consecutive year, partnering with Shin Dong-yeol and Park Bo-kim. Netflix's Black and White Chef, Class Wars won the TV Annual Award, and Bitter Orange Comes to Meet You took home 4 awards, becoming the biggest winner. Harbin won the Best Film, and cinematographer Hong Kun-pyo won the annual award. In the film category, War, Chaos shined, winning 3 awards, with Young Sung-il winning Best Male Newcomer, and Park Chan-wook and Shin Chol winning Best Screenplay. In terms of TV dramas, Ju Ji-hoon and Kim Tae-ri won the Best Actor and Actress respectively. News highlights: Lin Zilei is not only known for her electric eye charm, but also quite vigilant against fraud. She once reminded her friend to be careful of remitting money to help others, but her friend found that it was a fraud after sending 500,000 yuan without suspecting him, and fortunately saved 500,000 yuan after verification. Lin Zilei shared a story of fraud, reminding everyone to don't answer strange calls and don't send money easily, and mentioned that another friend received a scam call from kidnapping his son, and responded humorously to avoid being deceived. She reminded everyone that fraud is everywhere and that they need to be vigilant. News highlights: recently, some netizens found a number of tour buses outside Zizi Costco, and posted on the Facebook group Zizi Alliance to share, saying that it was the first time they saw so many tour buses to shop, which caused netizens to speculate. Some insiders revealed that these tour buses are from Yunnan. In order to facilitate shopping, Yunnan people charter tour buses to Zizi. Costco specially opened early and restricted only customers on the tour buses to enter. Some Yunnan residents also shared their experiences, saying that they had taken a tour bus to Zizi to shop and apply for membership cards. News highlights: the well-known lawyer Liu Kaiyuan recently revealed that he had a child out of wedlock due to a lawsuit, which caused controversy. Lawyer Yang released an audio file of a conversation between Liu Kaiyuan and the child's mother, in which Liu Kaiyuan said that this fertilized egg is not a child, and forced the woman to have an abortion, claiming that she had no feelings for the child, and even emphasized that if the woman chose to give birth to the child, their cooperative relationship would not be able to continue. The woman was shocked and retorted that the child had a heartbeat. This remark aroused strong dissatisfaction among netizens, and musician Su Changde also publicly criticized Liu Kaiyuan's remarks for being too pretty, which is more unbearable than scum, and expressed concern for innocent children. News highlights: Minister of Economic Affairs Guo Zhihui recently invited Gu Lian, a representative of the American Institute in Taiwan, 8, and others to hold a banquet at the MD Creative Cuisine restaurant owned by his family, which cost about 220,000 yuan, which caused controversy. Although the Ministry of Economic Affairs responded that Guo Zhihui himself paid for the meal and did not use the official budget, it broke the news that Guo Zhihui frequently invited official objects and subordinates to the restaurant, and MD created dishes for his family business, which was suspected of profiteering. The souvenirs at the restaurant are also related to Guo's family and are suspected of being involved in a conflict of interest. News highlights: street performer Amin recently posted on social platforms, accusing himself of being harassed by a strange man at a backpacker inn in Yunnan. In the early morning of the 4th, the man tried to climb into his bed, and Amin woke up and shouted at the other party, but the other party flatly denied it. Despite calling the police and filing a sexual harassment complaint, the police were unable to remove the suspect due to insufficient evidence, leaving Amin feeling helpless and questioning why he waited until the actual harm occurred. He stressed that sexual harassment can happen regardless of gender, and called on everyone to be vigilant. News highlights: the Taiwan dollar has appreciated strongly in recent days, rising nearly 2 yuan in 2 days, and rushed to 29.59 yuan yesterday, the second highest single-day increase in history, causing panic among exporters. Yang Jinlong, governor of the central bank, urgently held a press conference, saying that he would increase the intensity of regulating the foreign exchange market and warned the withdrawal of hot money from foreign exchange speculation. The central bank pointed out that the appreciation was driven by anticipation psychology and foreign exchange speculation, emphasizing that Taiwan's economy is in good condition, but it is necessary to be vigilant against the herd effect. The sharp fluctuations in the exchange rate also dragged down Taiwan stocks, which fell 254 points in the end. News highlights: Skechers announced that it will be acquired and privatized by 3G Capital for more than $9 billion, making it a major transaction in the consumer goods sector. As a result of this move, the world's third-largest footwear brand will exit the public market in the third quarter of 2025, and will be taken over by 3G Capital, which has experience in driving brand restructuring such as Burger King and Kraft, continuing the global expansion and innovation strategy led by the founder. The transaction provides a premium option for shareholders, with the existing management team and headquarters unchanged. In the face of tariff pressure from the U.S. China trade, the company is also adjusting its supply chain structure to meet global manufacturing challenges with the resources and operating experience of 3G Capital. This acquisition is seen as an important opportunity for brand transformation and international re-evolution. News highlights: the well-known barbecue restaurant Kaohsiung Art Museum store will turn off its lights on June 22, mainly because the rent has skyrocketed from 500,000 to 3.6 million per month after the landlord has changed, and the owner has decided to quit because of the overwhelm. The store is the brand's starting house in Kaohsiung in 2012, with an investment of 200 million yuan to decorate, and was once a landmark restaurant. The landlord is Cai Tianzan, chairman of Beijing Construction, who is known as the Kaohsiung Land Public, which has caused heated discussions about whether the high rent is an eviction order. At present, employees can choose to transfer to other stores, and the operator has no plans to find a new location in Kaohsiung. News highlights: the meteorological department pointed out that due to the influence of the front, the probability of rainfall in Taiwan increased from the 6th to the 7th, the weather was unstable, and there was a risk of heavy rain and thunderstorms in some areas. The rain slowed down slightly on the 8th, the moisture increased again on the 9th, and another wave of fronts approached in the evening. On Saturday and Sunday, 10th and 11th, it will turn unstable again, and there may be lightning strikes and strong winds. The temperature fluctuates greatly. The high temperature in the north will plummet to about 20 degrees after more than 30 degrees, and the northeast wind will be slightly cooler at the beginning of next week, and the southeast wind will bring afternoon thunder showers from the middle of the week. News highlights: after eating a big meal, don't rush to atone for high-intensity exercise. Dr. Zhang Jiaming, president of Taipei Rong, pointed out that the latest research shows that if you do strenuous exercise immediately after a high-fat diet, it will hurt the heart, resulting in myocardial hypertrophy and functional decline. Conversely, low-intensity exercise, such as brisk walking, can effectively protect the heart. Exercise is a restoration, not a punishment, and it is recommended to adjust your diet first and then gradually increase the intensity of exercise to truly achieve your health. News highlights: Dr. Zhang Jiaming, President Rong of Taipei, shared that during his study in the United States, he unexpectedly lost 10 kilograms by eating pizza every day, and the key was the tomato in the pizza. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, which not only has antioxidant and anti-cancer effects, but also stabilizes blood sugar and reduces fat accumulation. Lycopene is fat-soluble and is better absorbed when heated and refueled. He emphasized that health does not have to be extreme to abstain from eating pleasures. Starting with a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes, you can move towards a more stable and healthy body. News highlights: a girl in Kaohsiung took an Uber Tesla when the kettle leaked, causing the carpet in the car to get wet. Although it was wiped and apologized, the driver still demanded high compensation, from the initial 500 yuan to more than 40,000 yuan. Citing reasons including dismantling the chassis and business losses, and also calling the police and asking for money from the cram school. The parents questioned the safety of the vehicle and the driver opened his mouth and sued for fraud. Uber said it could not intervene and suggested a legal solution. News highlights: with the arrival of the rainy season, many families use dehumidifiers. Some people are curious about whether the collected water can be reused, and some artists even reveal that they boil the dehumidification water and drink it for many years. Experts warn that dehumidifier water contains bacteria and impurities in the air, and even if it is boiled, it cannot be completely sterilized, and long-term drinking may harm your health. The Water Resources Administration of the Ministry of Economic Affairs recommends that it can be used for toilet flushing or mopping floors, but it should never be drunk or used for cooking, so as to avoid saving water and not causing harm to the body. News highlights: as China's economy faces multiple challenges, including high government debt and a recession in the housing market, Beijing has stopped releasing hundreds of sensitive economic data in order to maintain its rule, making it difficult to get a full picture of what's going on. For example, youth unemployment data and housing market data have been discontinued in recent years, while stock market data has been hidden. Many economists have questioned the accuracy of China's official GDP growth figures, with some forecasts predicting that the growth rate is actually much lower than the official figures. Faced with these dilemmas, experts have proposed the use of alternative indicators such as import data to measure China's economic growth. News highlights: Shohei Ohtani hit a 2-run home run in the 5th inning against the Marlins today, making his 9th hit of the season to give the Dodgers a 5-0 lead. Ohtani hit a strikeout in the first hit, and the second hit picked up a pass and stole second base. Then, Freeman hit a 2-point shot in the 3rd inning to send Ohtani back to score. South Korea's Kim Hae-sung made his first start as second baseman and hit his first career hit in the 5th inning and stole second base. Ohtani had a muzzle velocity of 117.9 miles and covered a distance of 386 feet. News highlights: Chen Xiajiang, the former director of 76 Walkers, was suspected of beating his girlfriend to death at the Puxin Township Hotel in Zhonghua 3 years ago, and was transferred on suspicion of homicide and absconded after paying bail of 200,000 yuan. The police have been investigating for nearly 2 years, and he was arrested in Yunlin City last night and sent to the Zhonghua District Prosecutor's Office for investigation. The police will further investigate whether there was anyone assisting him in hiding and absconding. News highlights: a girl in Kaohsiung accidentally leaked a water bottle to the floor mat while riding an Uber Tesla, and the driver initially claimed 500 yuan, but later changed it to claim a total of 41,000 yuan for the loss of chassis and business, and once asked the cram school teacher for 20,000 yuan. The parents questioned the unreasonable amount and made the incident public, and the driver left a message to fight back and make insulting remarks, and the two sides accused each other, and the parents have sued for fraud and damage to reputation. Uber said that both parties must deal with it themselves, and it is recommended to resolve it through law. News highlights: according to a study by Ryota Kawashima, a professor at Tohoku University in Japan, students' use of mobile phones for more than 1 hour a day affects their academic performance, and more than 3 hours weakens logic, memory, and concentration, resulting in stagnation of white matter development in the brain. MRI tracking showed significant brain retardation in long-term internet users. Similar studies in the United States and South Korea have shown that mobile phones can interfere with concentration even when not in use. Australia bans the use of social media under the age of 16 from 2024. Kawashima called on families to set mobile phone rules, and parents should lead by example and jointly protect their children's cognitive development. News highlights a wife in Malaysia who sold her body to buy a second-hand BMW for Rm7,000 due to lack of funds caused her husband to acquiesce to the act, causing public outrage. Internet celebrity teacher Maud Fadri exposed the incident and criticized the shocking sacrifice of dignity for buying a car. After the incident was exposed, a large number of netizens called out the moral collapse. The world is really crazy. News highlights Big S was buried in March after dying of illness in February this year, and her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei was originally scheduled to hold a wedding with Ma Xiaomei, Mandy, on May 17, but on the eve of the wedding, it was revealed that Mandy was accused of cheating in marriage by her ex-husband Zheng Yangrong, and suppressed the whistleblower. Zheng made public chat records and had conversations with the management committee, pointing out that he had brought different men home many times to cause complaints. The incident appeared on Weibo's hot search, and at the same time, netizens even dug up suspected large-scale photos and family background in his early years, questioning the collapse of his daughter's personality, and there was a lot of discussion on the internet. News highlights Hong Kong actor Huang Zifeng and his 58-year-old wife Chen Lily have been married for 15 years, and welcomed their first daughter in 2019. Huang Zifeng posted a family photo on IG before Mother's Day, happily saying that the renewal of love is successful. He revealed in an interview that he had planned to have several more children, although he had suffered a miscarriage, but this pregnancy was in good condition, and professional medical care had been arranged, and the couple was full of expectations. News highlights the representative of Turn Korea, a well-known Korean catering company, apologized publicly through a YouTube video on the 6th due to the food safety and management controversy of its brand, and announced the complete suspension of performing arts activities to focus on corporate reform. Acknowledging that the problem stems from his own management responsibilities, he sees 2025 as the company's second venture, and promises to promote internal restructuring and support franchise owners, hoping to rebuild social trust and create a more honest corporate culture. News highlights YouTuber Kwon Chae-oen will undergo a second surgery today, 6th, due to tooth displacement after undergoing surgery in 2023. He admitted that after following the doctor's instructions, the dentition was still out of position, and he reluctantly said that he wanted to cry, but I could only face it. He shares his feelings with fans in the community, hoping to encourage others to face the unknown in life through his own experiences. Many friends also left messages to cheer him up and wish the operation a smooth operation. News highlights Yunnan internet celebrity Xiao Yang died of illness on April 28 at the age of 33. He has been experiencing dizziness since April 2023 and was finally diagnosed with stage 4 glioblastoma, the king of brain cancer, and has been fighting cancer for 2 years. Brother Xiao Yang still waited for his daughter to get out of school before he died, and finally passed away peacefully. Glioblastoma is a very malignant brain tumor that is difficult to completely resect, has a very low survival rate, and the initial symptoms are often mistaken for fatigue or headache. News highlights Han Zhenda, general manager of Acer Group's Hillian service, was involved in the corruption case of computer equipment procurement in primary and secondary schools in Hsinchu County, colluding with officials of the Hsinchu County Education Bureau and the Network Center, and was suspected of accepting bribes and forging invoices. The ICAC investigation found that $4 million of suspicious funds had flowed to officials, and accused Han Zhenda and others of being involved in illegal interests. The case originated in 2011, when Acer Hsinchu branch obtained a shrinkage procurement case for 18 million yuan, and did not bid in accordance with the regulations, which was suspected of false invoicing and arbitrage of funds. Han Zhenda has pleaded guilty in part and was granted $600,000 bail, and the investigation is ongoing. News highlights the exchange rate of the new Taiwan dollar has risen sharply recently, once breaking through the 30 yuan mark yesterday, 5th, touching 29.59, and continuing to rise above 30 yuan this morning, 6th, setting off a wave of exchange among the people. At the same time, Warren Buffett warned about the dollar's prospects at Berkshire Hathaway's shareholder meeting, saying that the dollar could become a currency that will go to hell, and criticized the US tariffs for causing the dollar to depreciate. Warren Buffett revealed that he has increased his investment in Japan's 5 major trading companies and plans to hold them for a long time, which is also seen as a signal that he is optimistic about the yen. News highlights the Kuomintang caucus of the Tainan City Council recently openly recruited volunteers to recall volunteers and provided them with an hourly wage of 300 to 350 yuan and transportation expenses, aiming to promote the recall of Lin Zhengxian and Wang Dingyu's joint signature. As soon as the news came out, it attracted heated discussions and ridicule from netizens, and Lin Zhengxian laughed at himself on social platforms, believing that the KMT mistakenly thought that volunteers would receive money, and said that he would not be shaken by the contest of political resources. He also stressed that the KMT's actions were absurd compared to the unpaid dismissal of volunteers, and warned that the other side could face a strong social backlash. Many netizens also left comments criticizing the KMT's behavior and feeling disappointed with the party leader. News highlights a mysterious death incident occurred in the Zhongxiao campus of Taipei Municipal United Hospital recently, and a male body was found on the outdoor unit of the air conditioner on the first floor. When the police arrived at the scene, the body was visibly decomposed and smelly, and it was initially speculated that the deceased may have fallen from a height in the hospital. The deceased was undocumented and was presumed to have been dead for more than 2 to 3 days. The police have set up a cordon and called on surveillance cameras to investigate and actively clarify the identity and cause of death of the deceased. News highlights: after the incident was exposed, Brother emphasized that he would be handed over to the judicial investigation and turned to a low profile, and did not show up to participate in the farewell ceremony of sister-in-law Ann on the 11th. Subsequently, sister-in-law Ann's brother released a 15-second threatening audio file, in which Brother Ann threatened sister-in-law Ann, saying, "If you don't arrive within 3 minutes, I will burn down your whole house." Previously, Ann's sister-in-law's younger brother also exposed the audio recordings of suspected violence by Ann's brother. The family questioned that the cause of Ann's death was related to Ann's domestic violence and waited for the results of the autopsy report. Brother Ann said that he would face the judicial decision calmly and would not explain. News highlights: physician Huang Xian pointed out that the decline of liver function will be manifested through abnormal bowel movements and urination, and special attention should be paid to 5 warning signs. 1. The urine becomes dark or brown, and the smell is abnormally pungent. 2. Intestinal peristalsis is accelerated, which may cause diarrhea. 3. Melena, which represents gastrointestinal bleeding, especially esophageal variceal rupture caused by cirrhosis. 4. Abnormal bowel movements, such as constipation. 5. Abnormal urine odor. People with a history of fatty liver, alcoholism, or obesity should be vigilant and treated as soon as possible to avoid liver disease deterioration. News highlights: the new Taiwan dollar has appreciated sharply recently, nearly 10% in the past 2 trading days, which has dealt a blow to Taiwan's export-oriented economy. Foreign media warn that this will affect the price of electronic products, especially personal computers and components. Against the backdrop of the strengthening of the currencies of trading partners, Taiwanese goods will become more expensive. The report pointed out that the semiconductor industry may face the challenge of foreign exchange loss, and TSMC may also be affected, and the US dollar revenue is estimated to have a gap of 70 billion to 86.4 billion yuan. In addition, the new Taiwan dollar briefly rose above the $30 mark yesterday, hitting a new high in nearly 3 years. News highlights: Guan Zongmin, former president of National Taiwan University, recently shared that he received a postcard from Beijing, with the Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall on the front and the stamps of 3 scenic spots on the back. There were no other words on the postcard, only 12 words: "The revolution has not yet succeeded, comrades still have to work hard," and the text ended with "The revolution has not yet succeeded," which sparked discussion among netizens. Guan Zongmin has been active in words and deeds recently, participated in the Kuomintang Anti-Green Communist Party March, and reviewed the 2018 National Taiwan University President's election incident. His actions have aroused many supporters, hoping that he can lead Taiwan back to its former glory. News highlights: after Andy Lau and Zhu Liqian got married, they had a daughter, Lu Xianghui. Although he has always been low-key, he once revealed that when tutoring his daughter's homework at home, because of the impact of the epidemic, he sometimes gets angry because his daughter doesn't understand, and even accuses her, "Is there a mistake? You still don't understand it." He reluctantly said that even good fathers will have tempers, and emphasized that the mentality of parents is for the good of their children. This side made netizens leave messages one after another, saying that even the King of Heaven cannot avoid the troubles in the process of parenting, and lamented that every parent will face such challenges. News highlights: bariatric physician Xiao Zhijian pointed out that the latest research shows that VO2 max is crucial for health and longevity, and even affects quality of life more than weight or BMI. The higher the VO2 maximum, the easier it is to exercise physically, such as stairs and running, and the lower the level, the easier it is to feel out of breath. The study found that for every 1 unit drop in VO2 maxima, the risk of death increased by 10 to 25%. Su recommends starting with ultra jogging and doing aerobic exercise 2 to 3 times a week, combined with high-intensity interval training and weight training, which can help slow down the rate of decline in VO2 maximum, improve physical fitness and improve health. News highlights: on the 6th, Taiwan stocks rose under the strong drive of the AI group, with Xinhua, 5,274, leading the rally, Hanhai, 2,317, ASE Investment Control, 3,711, and other high-performing stocks also rising simultaneously, and the Taipei International Computer Show theme assisted, suppressing TSMC, 2,330, bearish sentiment. Xinhua announced that its first quarter EPS reached 23.46 yuan, and its stock price rose nearly 8% to stand at 3,500 yuan, and it is expected that this year's profit is expected to hit a new high. Hanha's revenue hit a record high in April and successfully regained the 5-day line, and it is expected to continue to grow in the second quarter. ASE Investment Holdings after-tax net profit hit a record high in the first quarter, and its stock price also jumped nearly 3%. News highlights: Taiwan stocks were affected by the reciprocal tariffs of the United States in the second quarter, and the market was volatile, with the Taiwan Index Option Volatility Index once breaking through 30 and reaching a maximum of 47. Although the volatility index has retreated, it is still hovering around 30. The legal person suggests that under the frequent changes in market conditions, investors can use active ETFs to adjust their layout and respond flexibly to changes. Based on past experience, when the Taiwan Stock Fear Index breaks through 30, it is usually an opportunity to enter the market, and the broader market rose 13.7% and 19.7% in the last 3 months and 6 months, respectively. As the uncertainty of tariffs eases, Taiwan stocks are expected to rebound, and it is recommended that investors can gradually deploy high-quality targets in electronic and non-electronic groups. News highlights on the 6th. The travel agency group rose strongly under the incentive of the appreciation of the Taiwan dollar, and the stock prices of Kangxing Travel, 2,719, Yifei Wang, 2,734, Wufa Tourism, 2,745, and other stock prices attacked the daily limit, and the stock prices of Travel World, 6,961, and Shanfu, 2,743, also rose simultaneously. The legal person pointed out that this wave of growth is not only affected by the exchange rate, but also supported by 3 major bulls. First, the demand for overseas travel in the summer is hot, especially in Europe and Japan. Secondly, in 2026, there will be more consecutive days of vacation, which is conducive to travel agencies to receive orders. Finally, the appreciation of the Taiwan dollar will help reduce the cost of going abroad and increase people's willingness to travel. News highlights. Zhou Rongta, the executive yuan, said on the 6th that for the semiconductor tariffs to be announced by the United States, our side will submit an opinion in accordance with Article 232 of the United States Trade Expansion Act, and expects to reach an effective agreement in the next consultations. He stressed that the exchange rate issue has not been discussed in the recent negotiations. Taiwan's exchange rate is stable and unchecked, and the government will continue to monitor and guard against illegal activities to ensure market stability. Zhou Rongta also stressed that Taiwan will safeguard its industrial rights and interests and enhance its confidence in the development of high-tech industries. News highlights. Minister of Economic Affairs Kwok Chi-hui chose the restaurant owned by his wife and son when he entertained 8 officials, which raised questions from the Tolai Konggao group. In response, Minister Guo has explained the process and the use of funds, and if there is any doubt, he can further explain. The Ministry of Economic Affairs also stressed that Guo Zhihui paid for his own meals, did not use the official budget, and abided by the principles of administrative neutrality and interest avoidance, and the choice of restaurants was based on transportation convenience. Commenting on the rumors of a cabinet reshuffle, To said the cabinet team remains united and is focused on fighting for a budget related to security and resilience. News highlights. Li Xiaoyang, the leader of the group that ousted DPP legislator Wu Pei, was recently interviewed by the Beijing Procuratorate for forging joint documents. Li's mother criticized the KMT for not showing any support or concern after the party workers were interviewed, and pointed out that the Blue Camp would do whatever it took to achieve its political goals. Kuomintang chairman Zhu Lailun did not respond positively to this, only emphasizing that he would go all out to oppose the recall and support the recall of the Green Camp legislators. He also accused the DPP of doing nothing and focusing only on cracking down on the opposition. At the grassroots level, Zhu Lailun's policy of asking the whole party to support the recall of public officials was questioned, believing that the policy was difficult to achieve. News highlights. Taichung City's recall group to oust Kuomintang legislator Luo Tinggui recently reached 46,276 signatures, setting a record in Taiwan, but some of the signatures were removed by the Taichung City Election Committee due to inconsistent formats, causing controversy. The boycott questioned the unfairness of the removal of the signature, and accused the Deputy Director General of the EC, Chan Puyuk, of having co-elected Luo Tinggui, on suspicion of administrative injustice. In response, the EC said that the rejection was due to irregularities in the format, column width, or data shortage of the signatures, and stressed that no measurement tools were used. After negotiation, 39 CO signatories were finally eliminated, and the compliance rate was 169.1%. News highlights. Recently, the new Taiwan dollar has appreciated strongly, once touching 29.59 yuan, which has attracted market attention. President Li Qiang explained that the main reason is that the economic growth is good and foreign investors have bought more Taiwan stocks, which has led to the expectation of appreciation. However, former legislator Guo Zhengliang retorted, arguing that the real reason was that the sharp fall in U.S. bond prices and the soaring yield rate had shaken the confidence of the U.S. dollar and global capital spillover. He questioned the DPP's failure to face up to the problem that appreciation and tariff hikes may lead to a sharp increase in manufacturers' costs, and called on the Taiwan authorities to respond positively to the concerns of the industry. News highlights. A batch of 20,000 kilograms of black peppercorns imported from Vietnam by the Food and Drug Administration of the well-known brand Small Mill was found to have excessive pesticide phosphine residues and had to be returned or destroyed. The Food and Drug Administration has implemented 100% border inspection for black pepper in Vietnam. At the same time, the North City Health Bureau sampled 50 pieces of vegetable and fruit products, and 9 pieces of pesticides exceeded the standard, including red peppers sold by Courtyard by Marriott Lukfook and other businesses, and the violators could be fined up to 200 million yuan. Is there any other food safety information that needs to be put together for you? News highlights Minister of Economic Affairs Guo Zhihui was exposed by Mirror Weekly that during his tenure, he invited official objects to dine and hold meetings in the restaurant of his old club Konghio Group, and his wife and children still hold shares and serve as directors, and the family holds shares with a market value of more than 2.1 billion yuan, which was questioned for profit. It was also reported that in the name of the Ministry of Economy, he invited 8 officials to the dinner, and the guests received souvenir gifts of top far goods. The Economic Department clarified that all expenses were borne by Guo Zhihui himself, and stressed that the unused public funds were in line with the principles of administrative neutrality and interest avoidance, and the relevant expenditures were also supported by evidence. News highlights Taiwan's recall action has entered the countdown, and 35 Pan Blue and 15 DPP legislators have entered the second phase of CO signing, of which Luo Tinggui's CO signature rate is as high as 169.3%, the highest in Taiwan. Chen Minfan, a senior media person, analyzed that if it enters the third stage of voting, the KMT may have 10 to 15 legislators recalled, and at least 4 seats in Taipei City will be affected. Green Camp lawmaker Jian Shupei predicted that Taipei City could become the constituency with the most recall signatures. News highlights modern people generally eat a westernized diet and high-calorie intake, and often compensate for it with high-intensity exercise, but the latest Nature Communications research shows that this can actually harm the heart. Animal experiments have found that only low-intensity exercise, such as brisk walking, can effectively protect the heart, while medium to high-intensity exercise may lead to myocardial damage and lipotoxicity. Taipei Rong Chief Physician Zhang Jiaming reminds that you should improve your diet before exercising, and then gradually to avoid bad health. News highlights 58-year-old artist Hu Weining went to Japan's Kuro Tateyama to shoot a snow wall bikini photo, but due to the low temperature, he suffered severe hypothermia, frostbite, rapid heartbeat, speech stuttering and other symptoms, and was in danger of dying. She set off in the early morning, lacked sleep, and insisted on shooting in the blizzard, but fortunately, her friends rescued her immediately to avoid deterioration. Hu Weining later reminded the public that they should get enough sleep and keep warm, and not to ignore climate risks. News highlights Taiwan's recent earthquakes have been frequent, raising concerns that Japanese cartoonist Natsuki has predicted a devastating July 5 earthquake. Vedic astrologer Li Jingui warns that what really needs to be paid attention to is that from May 6 to 8, there may be a large-scale earthquake off the coast of Huadong, or there may be disasters such as strong storms and rains, interpersonal conflicts and so on. She pointed out that during this period, the astrological signs show Kala Sarpa Yoga, which symbolizes the imbalance of yin and yang, which is a period of high risk of catastrophism. Li called on the public to stay vigilant, prepare for disasters, and hope to survive the period of instability. News highlights veteran martial arts actor Chung Fat recently criticized Jackie Chan for not treating the members of the family formation class well, pointing out that many brothers who were born and died with him, such as Mars and Lee Kin-sang, were not properly cared for, and even after being seriously injured during filming, there was no aftermath arrangement. He praised Sammo Hung for knowing how to cultivate talents, and bluntly said that Jackie Chan should be more affectionate to his partners, and questioned that no matter how much wealth he had, he couldn't bring it into the coffin, and called for cherishing his brothers. News highlights a landlord in Tainan made a will to give almost all of the more than 300 million inheritance to his 2 sons, and the 4 daughters only received 30,001 each, which caused a dispute over the inheritance. One of the daughters filed a lawsuit for the return of 21.48 million yuan in special retention points, which was rejected in the first instance, and the second instance found that the procedure was flawed and should be supplemented and argued, and the judgment was remanded for a new trial. The lawyer reminds that the special retention points should be taken into account when making a will, so as to avoid family disputes and waste of judicial resources. News highlights the Australian e-commerce platform Catch will officially cease operations on April 30, 2025, ending nearly 20 years of operation. Its parent company, Wesfarmers, said it had accumulated losses of $350 million over the past 3.5 years and was unable to survive the fierce competition. Founded in 2006, Catch's operations deteriorated after being acquired by Wesfarmers in 2019, and its losses widened year by year. The low-price strategies of competitors such as Shein and Temu are putting serious pressure on them, and the 200 mainland sellers attracted in 2024 are not performing well. The closure will affect around 200 jobs, and some of the warehousing facilities will be taken over by Kmart. Catch's telecom brand will be renamed to continue operations. News highlights Beishaidan Mazu's 10-day, 9-night trekking incense trip entered the 5th day, and at 11:35 p.m. today, it entered Mingjian Township, Nantou County for the first time, which was the first visit of Beishaidan Mazu in 200 years, which aroused a warm welcome from the local people. The local villagers set up offering tables and offerings, and used cranes to hang dozens of meters of firecrackers to greet them. The total length of the incense journey was 400 kilometers, spanning the 4 counties of Zhangjiaun and Miaozhong, and setting a record of nearly 330,000 incense lamp feet registered. Mizu will return to Gongtian Palace in Beishadan at 3:45 p.m. today. News highlights: South Korea's annual 2025 Baeksang Art Awards was launched on the 5th, and IU was nominated for Best Actress for Bitter Mandarin Comes to Meet You, but Kim Tae-ri finally won the award for New Year, which sparked heated discussions on the internet. IU has been shortlisted 3 times in the past, and her acting skills have been highly recognized, especially in Bitter Mandarin Comes to Meet You. One person plays 2 roles, showing delicate emotional performance. Despite not winning the award, her performance was still considered a work worthy of nomination, and fans and netizens regretted it. The acting prowess of the competitors also made this competition more intense. News highlights: James was accused of white wolf with empty gloves by well-known producer Wang Jun and his wife and senior agent Chu Zaihuzu, including failure to repay the borrowed money, breach of contract on private work, etc., and demanded that James repay at least NT $25.84 million and be involved in criminal breach of trust. James refuted it in a Facebook statement on May 1, but Wang Jun issued another 6-point statement on May 6, accusing James of blatant lying and detailing his alleged violations. News highlights: Chi Chi, the cheerleader of the Daewon Puyuan pilot Ape, attracted attention because of his personal affairs. She abruptly made her Instagram account private and deleted her head posts and featured videos, and then apologized to her ex-boyfriend's current girlfriend in a restricted movement, saying that she should not knowingly meet her ex-boyfriend. She also apologized for her private affairs affecting her fans and promised to be more cautious in the future. After the incident, Chu Chi reinstated her account to the public and continued to post cheerleading-related content, which made the outside world have different opinions about her handling of it.